Good afternoon, everyone. Are we here? I mean, I can't really hear you. Are we here? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Nadu Placca Rodriguez. I'm the director of the Zoo XYZ, and today I'm going to talk to you about artist liaison and tour management. Does anyone know anything about this industry? Anyone know anything about artist management? Tour management? Yeah? We're going to tell you a bit more. And I've got some amazing women here with me today. I would like to introduce to my left, Portia Clarke. Can we give her a lovely round of applause? Thank you. Chloe Bailey Williams, not to be mistaken by Chloe Bailey. A round of applause, thank you. And also Peju Ayanwale. Right, let me tell you a bit about everyone. So, or do you want to introduce yourselves? Let you introduce yourselves. Portia, tell us who you are, what you do.
Hi, I'm Portia Clarke. Hi, everyone. Hi, darling. I own a consultancy agency that specialises in marketing, especially and artist management and tour management, especially within the Caribbean diaspora. And when corporate companies ultimately want to kind of like look through that lens, that's what I do. But I have a long history of working with labels. I was previously chief of staff for Manakite Group that like own a bunch of festivals like Afro Nation, head of marketing for Motown Records, head of marketing at Virgin Music, and then previously headed up Black Music for the Music Group. So I've worked in the industry for like over a decade now. So that's kind of like my quick overview of what I do, really.
Thank you, Portia. Chloe.
Hi, everyone. This is my first panel, so so yeah, be kind. So I am a director of a artist advance and logistics company. We specialise mainly in festivals and club nights. Oh, the biggest one I have is We Out Here. I've been a part of that since the start. Yeah.
Thank you, Chloe. And over to Peju.
Hi guys, I'm Peju, but everyone just calls me Pej. I'm a producer, senior project manager, and I'm a tour manager as well. I've been working in the creative industry for about 8-9 years now, and I've worked with different brands and different artists. And I also have a community-based platform called So Fly, and that helps connect young women in the industry.
Thank you. So today we're going to talk to you about the challenges, the highs, the lows, the rewards of this crazy world that we've thrown ourselves into, because it really is, artist liaison and tour management. So firstly, I just want to hear from everyone, how did you get into either artist liaison or tour management respectfully to yourself? And with that, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced? Go, Portia.
I got into it by accident. I didn't know that was what it was called, so you don't even know this actually, but years ago, my dad did a lot of shows at Brixton Academy in different academy groups, and he would have my sisters and I helping out with what I didn't know was the artist riders, and at the time didn't know what running was, but ultimately, if a manager needed something, I was going to get it for them. At the time, I, looking back, would say it was free child labour, but he didn't pay us. He didn't pay us. But then years later, I went on to do my first kind of like running paid work was O2 Big Think, and I was a artist liaison runner at the time. So that's kind of like how I got into it, but didn't know that was what it was at the time.
That's normally how it starts.
That's how it starts.
You get sucked into it somehow. You trip and then you're like, oh, I'm actually working here now.
Exactly. And then from then, I then started to reach out to artists to be on their tours or to like for their shows, especially across like Black music. There was always like a lack of people that had certain skill sets in those roles. So that was how I kind of like started off into it.
So a lot of putting yourself out there, reaching, taking opportunities and grabbing them. Someone grabbed it when I was downstairs. This is the place to do it. Chloe, what about yourself?
So I love well, when I was young, I used to love raving, going out, festivals. So I was like, okay, how do I get back there and just be a part of it? So I used to work at like Miniature Sound and the Bar. I used to do a lot of door work around East London. Like you said, just getting yourself out there, really. And then when opportunities came, I just jumped at them. a lot of like interning, a lot of volunteering, which has changed now, like it's all paid and stuff like that. But like you said, just getting yourself out there, getting stuck in, just starting from the bottom and just really working yourself and like doing everything you can to make yourself indispensable. So yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah, I hear that. It's about showing up and putting yourself up there for real. Peju, what about you?
In terms of the actual industry and work with artists, I actually come from a background of accounting and finance, but I hated everything about finance. So when I got out of uni, I did that for a year and then quit. Didn't have any plan. But then, similar to yourself, I literally was reaching out to different club nights, asking if they need help on their events. But in terms of tour management, again, similar to you, that was an accident. It kind of fell into my lap. My friend who's a DJ, her name's called Jotty. She always used to say to me when she was like up and coming that once I'm big, you're going to be my tour manager. And I was like, okay, when that day comes, that's going to happen. And the day came last year. So I've been on the road with her since. So yeah.
I love that. A bit of nepotism as well. Definitely.
Do you know, I just realised something as well. I was a door girl as well. I used to be at like club doors doing the guest list, which wasn't glamorous, but I did it. And then started to know people from that as well. So I did that too.
Yeah. Honestly, it's about being there, being visible, making people see that you're hungry for the work to be able to push you a bit further. If you had to use one word, just to cut, maybe 3, to summarize, like a key skill or quality that you would say helped you really to succeed in this role, what would that be? I'm going to throw that to you, Peju.
Does it have to be a word? Can it just be like a saying?
It can be a saying.
It's not that deep.
Ooh, tell us more.
I feel like when I first started out, I was so like concerned about everything going right, being right. Then I realized it's actually not that deep. Like what I'm doing is fun. What I'm doing is great, but I'm not saving anyone's life. I'm just making a show happen, making a party happen. So yeah, it's not that deep.
It's not that deep. I love that. Thank you. Chloe?
For me, sorry. I think it's really important that you're a people person as well, and able to kind of adapt. It's quite a few things, but just being a people person, being personable, being approachable. So yeah, that's what I'd say probably.
Thank you. Portia?
I would say patience and instinct.
I like that. Tell us.
Because it's mental at the best of times. So you always need that one person in the team that's just patient and calm. And then instinct, as a female, I'm sorry for the men in the room, but we have a certain intuition and certain instincts. And just even if you're male or female, like there's certain things you just know what you have a gut feeling on. And 9 times out of 10, it's usually right.
Honestly,
so go with it.
I think as a Black woman, intuition is our strongest power. I say this all the time. There's something that we are tuned into that you just can feed into a bit differently. Thank you for sharing that. All right, so talking about the realities of this world, because it is very hectic, what does a day in the life look like? And I know there is no one solid day. Choose one that was the most fun, the craziest, that just gives a bit of context as to what a day in the life looks like for you. Throwing that to Chloe.
What, like, sorry. Okay, I'm going to pick, like, a festival site, for instance.
Yeah.
So I run a team of, it depends, so, like, about 55 artist liaisons and stage managers at We Out Here. On a Thursday, for instance, you'd probably get up, go to see the... Oh, this is so boring, sorry.
But it's not boring. It's the hectic life that people don't realize, because sometimes you're waking up crazy early, dealing with crazy people that have crazy demands, your team as well, so...
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of stories, but I don't know if it's the time or place, to be honest.
We can get into the stories later.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all do.
But yeah, it's just, again, more, like, not advice, but the reality is you're not going to get much sleep. Like, I've got a 9-month-old baby, so I'm kind of used to it now. But if you want to succeed, especially while you're kind of getting there, you're going to, it's a lot of lack of sleep, basically.
I agree. What was that? Oh.
Not if you work for independent companies.
Portia, what would you say? And I can't say an average day, because I don't even know where you are half the time.
So I'll give 2 instances. One of them would be having to find tights because the artist has changed their mind in what they want to wear on stage. But then right now I'm in the midst of Red Bull Culture Clash, which is on Saturday. And the crew, which is one of my clients, Spice, doesn't live in the UK. So the time zone is insane. It's a 5-hour, 6-hour behind the UK. So having to manage that in addition to with the team that we have, and half of them are based in the UK and half of them are based in the States, and then some of them are based in Jamaica, the time zone is intense. So it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but the time zone thing and making sure like scheduling meetings, you get the time zones correct and those sorts of nuances. But then also I still have to be up at UK time to make sure I don't miss anything.
Yep.
So
it's like being in 3 different offices, isn't it? Honestly, it's very stressful. What about yourself, Peju?
Back to the point, like no day is the same, but I feel like I try and keep 2 things constant if I am on the road, which is prayer and going to the gym, because I feel like those 2 things keep me together. If I can't do those things, I'm literally all over the place. So that's why I tell everyone if they're like going on the road, like try and have something constant for yourself. So like those are my 2 in terms of if I'm framing my day. But yeah, no day is ever the same.
Do you know what? That's really important. I just came back from a show in Zanzibar, and one of the things I was saying, like yoga is my zen, and I had no time to do it, but it's carving that time out because, like you said, no one's gonna die. You're not saving lives. You have to kind of carve that time out for yourself. But we will touch on that a little bit later. So let me ask you, managing very, very high-profile artists, I know everyone on this stage does, how do you balance professionalism with, like, personal rapport with these people? Anyone can answer that.
In my case, I think it's a bit of a blurred line because she is also my friend. So there's, like, a balance of there's still professionalism because we have to get the work done, but there's also like, there's a boundary in a sense of if I feel like there's boundaries overstepped, I vocalized it, but in a respectful way, because the same way I'll do that in any sort of friendship. But if I'm working with an artist that is not my friend, it's strictly work, you have to be firm but friendly. In my case, I'm a Black woman. I can't just be rude because they'll say I'm aggressive. I can't be a bitch, especially if I'm working with people that aren't necessarily Black. So if I'm smiling in your face but being firm, I always say to myself, okay, cool. Then they can't say anything about it, but I'm getting the job done. So you just got to make sure you're being respectful to them and to yourself as well.
I hear that. I like that. Anyone else?
So I just make sure I work for like festivals or club shows that I believe in, that the artists are not massive divas all the time, or they're respectful enough, because like I know my worth and I don't want to be talked to like poo. So just making sure that I'm happy with the environment I'm in. So that's why I mainly work with like independent companies, because I find that it's more grassroots. Everyone's more happy to be there. They're more grateful. They're more courteous to you and your team and stuff like that. So that's what I personally try to do.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Portia?
I think for me, I would say that I am very much of a principled person. So anything I've done in my career and whoever I work with, I want to work with them, regardless of the paycheck. I've been fortunate enough that most of the people that I work with now, I've worked with for years, so it's like a family. And like your actual family, there's good times and there's bad times, and you kind of just roll with the punches. But ultimately, I stand by my principles, and if my no's are my no's and my yeses are my yeses, regardless of the artist. That's just a personal thing for myself, and I've always just in my career just led by that.
But it's funny because I think it also follows you, because anyone who also works with you, they know that about you. It's true. And I think it becomes part of your personality, so people know when they're dealing with you, that line where they can cross and how they interact with you. And I think it's so important to also work in spaces where you're appreciated and where you're valued, because it's not about the paycheck. There are plenty more paychecks. You have to feel respected and welcomed. And I know that from my experience last week. I nearly walked off the show on the day because someone was screaming in my face. But you're right, we've all been there. There has to be this kind of line between, do we keep it professional or am I wilding out right now? So to that point, crisis management. How do you deal with these last minute changes with artist needs and logistical nightmares? Do you have any like tips and tricks that help you keep zen and in the moment to manage them?
I always say to myself, if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. I feel like you got to laugh in any situation. Like, especially the experience that I have working in Nigeria, that is not for the weak. So I feel like working there, like Nigerians lie, I can't lie. We tell a lot of lies. So you got to be prepared that things are going to go wrong. So I feel like you have to laugh at any sort of situation that comes because, and also one big thing I tell people, don't focus on the problem for so long. Find the solution. Like the problem's happened, get over it. Now what are you going to do to resolve it? So, yeah.
And I think it's really important. Like someone once said to me, if you can do an event in Nigeria, you can do an event anywhere in the world. No, it's crazy. But you're right. Even on shows, I'm saying, don't come to me with a problem, come to me with a solution. Because in that moment, it's about how do we resolve and move forward. You can debrief and talk about all the other shit after, but it's in that moment, what do you do? Portia, Chloe?
I would say now, because the years have gone by, I can see some things happening and just being calm. What you don't need in a situation is the additional person to make things more elevated, is remaining calm ultimately, and then finding that space where you have your you time. So like I did the Red Bull Culture Clash in Jamaica in November, and the day after I made sure I booked myself to go away in the coast where I just had me time. So it's just finding that kind of space, but also like you need that calm person in that team. You can't have a team of everyone being hot-headed because nothing will ever get solved.
You chose peace, not violence. I love that. Yeah, it is important. Every time after a show, you need to find downtime to connect as an individual, to connect back with your team. Everyone goes through their own experiences, so it's very important. Chloe, anything to add?
I would say just step back, breathe, and like you said, just take on the situation head on. Don't be too emotional about it. Just think, right, what's the problem? What's the quickest, best, easiest solution as well? And not dwelling on it and not doing debriefs, nothing like that. You need to just get on with it, especially mid-FIC festival. You just need to keep going and not look back, just keep going forward.
I love that. All right, so talking about being a Black woman in this industry, how would you say the industry has evolved for Black women in tour management and artist liaison? And I say that because we here are sitting on this stage, but I mean, I know a great deal of people, but in the wider context of the industry, we are still a very small minority, even though our culture dominates the music industry. So yeah, how would you say from when you first came into the industry to now, has there been much change or not? Anyone can take that.
You're looking at
me. Be real. And this is about being real up here.
I would say the first thing is, this never existed when I was growing up. Like, these panels did not exist. And I was saying earlier, I don't do many panels because I think they need to be meaningful and not just very surface level. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, typically, you know, even today, like someone didn't know that I was on the panel, but it's like if you were working on the event, you should have seen who all the guest speakers were. So I typically, you know, when I go to the hotel or to check everyone in before the artist arrives, I get mistaken for not the manager or not the person who's been across all the emails. And then I will see guys literally walking through, security aren't stopping them. And I'm like, I'm the one on the email. I'm the one who did the booking. I'm the one who's paid everyone. I'm the one who's done all the logistics. And I just get like sidebar. And then it will be a male in the team that has to come to the venue door or something and say, actually, Portia's part of the team. She's part of management, to verify who I am. So that still happens, hasn't changed. And I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't frustrate me. It does frustrate me. And I've had many conversations about it with venues when I'm there because it's unacceptable and there's no excuse. So that definitely hasn't changed. But these sorts of open conversations does highlight things. And those that are in spaces where they can make the difference, that are in this room, take heed and take note because it still does happen. And ultimately, I kind of see it as we're not kind of like victims in this, but we can all have conversations and it's a safe, open space. And sometimes you have to be uncomfortable to be comfortable. That's like my view, my experience, kind of like on that kind of, also going to say some stuff.
No, thank you. Thank you for sharing. And like to extend to that, Peju, I want to ask you because also there's another layer being on the continent and hierarchy and what that looks like. So how's your experience there?
I think in everything you guys are just saying, and even in my experience, there's been two examples where I've been in situations where something has gone wrong and I would have to like call someone within my team who's a man to basically be my voice because they're not listening to me. And until they see him and they see him say exactly the same thing, that's when they like basically act. And it is frustrating. And I even noticed when I was on tour in the States last October, where there was something going wrong with the show, and there was this one guy in particular. He was just so rude to me for no reason. Out of everyone on the team, he was just rude to me, and I'm fairly very, very friendly. I'm such a friendly person, but I didn't know why. So I just said to myself, you know what? I'm just gonna kill him with kindness because that's the only thing I can do. Because again, I don't want you to draw me out of character. I feel like these things are going to continue to happen. I know it's sad to say, and I don't want to be that negative person, but we are seeing change. Like, that's one of the reasons why I started a community-based platform for young women, essentially to connect with one another, like share their experiences, and also just get a better understanding in the industry. Like, at first, I was quite emotional about those things happening, but really and truly, my emotions are not going to change the situation. What can I do to actually make sure the next person in 20 years' time could have a better experience than I did? So, yeah.
I want to join your group.
Oh, you can. Everyone can.
I'm not a young person, but
no. Let me rephrase that. Women can join.
Perfect.
Because I also feel like as a woman, anyone can change their career path at whatever age. So don't be scared. Just even if you're like 50, 60 and you want to become a tour manager, I know it might be a lot of traveling, but do it. So yeah, anyone can join if you're a woman. It's called So Fly.
Thank you. No. Chloe, yourself. Because also being in the festival world, very different. We met, just for those that don't know, because we're both across Brockwell Live. I'm doing City Splash, taking over from Chloe from last year. And as soon as I saw, yes, I'll be seeing you there too. But as soon as I saw Chloe, I was like, oh my God, another Black woman in artist liaison in the festival space. It is so rare. So tell us a bit about your experience.
So I started off mainly like doing electronic music, like techno and stuff. So there isn't many people of colour within that space as well. Obviously musicians and stuff like that. And I used to work for the Hydra, doing their advancing, and we use a lot of like artists, especially from Detroit and stuff. So I think it was good and important to have a team when we were like Printworks and stuff that kind of reflected them as well. So I'd always make sure that I had a diverse team. So I've been lucky by choosing the kind of companies that respects me, that I've been able to then put the team that I want to and push people that look like me, that sound like me forward, which is similar to what I know a lot of you lot do as well. So yeah, it's definitely like there's far and few between, but I think people like us are making a difference, and even people like you coming, showing up, watching this panel, a change is happening. It's fantastic. So yeah.
Thank you. No, well, I love it, Chloe. Chloe's just in it. The power of mentorship is so important. Back in 2021, I don't know if you lot know this actually, I did a report that looked at the racial disparity across UK event trade bodies and associations. And at that time, there was not one Black person on a board for any of the industry. At this point, I think there's one, Michael from Carnival, who sits on the Association of Independent Festivals. But outside of that, it is so small. So the group that you have, like even me trying to bring you guys here today, extending that out, it's so important. And I think I would like to just talk a bit more about the power of uplifting and providing spaces for the next generation of Black women specifically in this space, and kind of your views on that and what you will champion in the future. Portia, you're looking at me.
For me, a couple things. I think that I've been in a lot of positions most recently in my career over the last, I'd say 5 years, where I've been in a position of hiring. And I'm a believer in, and this might be controversial, but regardless of the colour of someone's skin, if you're good at what you do, you should be hired. That's something that I go by. Like, I don't care. If you're good at what you do, you should be hired. However, the fact remains that unfortunately Black women are not represented in a lot of roles. When I was head of marketing at Motown, at the time, I think in the UK, there were like 6 Black women that were head of marketing or in a senior level in all of the recording music. That shouldn't even be a thing that I'm even saying. And then when I was chief of staff for the Malachite Group, again, there was not many senior women of colour in the whole of the UK that work in the events industry. that again shouldn't be a thing that I'm saying. So when I'm interviewing and, sometimes I can tell that maybe the interviewer is a bit shy or a bit nervous because they haven't got certain experience, because they haven't been given the opportunity, I sometimes have allowed it to go to a stage where they can actually do a task, because sometimes people display their skill sets in different ways, and when they're just being asked 100%. Questions in the interview, they get nervous, but actually displaying and talking about their experience, that's when they shine. So because I have been able to be in certain spaces to allow employment for women who look like myself, I definitely have made conscious decisions to give them the space to do that. And then in what I do, I also have hired or introduced people to clients or potential clients to get work that they may not have got before. So I actively do that in my everyday, not just talk about it, which some people do.
That's it, be about it. I appreciate that. Thank you. Ladies?
I'm the queen of not gatekeeping. That's such a big thing about me. I don't like to gatekeep, just because I feel like when I first joined the industry, it was for people to actually pay attention. It was more of like who you know, rather than actually if you're trying to get into the job. And I think that's one of the reasons why me and my friend did start So Fly, because we just wanted everyone at the same level to talk to one another. So even if you're in this industry for like 15 or 20 years, you could talk to someone that's just trying to basically get into it. And I feel like that's very important for Black women as well, especially because I feel like a lot of Black women try to enter spaces, but they're shut down just because of how they look, who they are. And I don't want that for like the future generation. So even when young girls reach out to me, I'm the first person to say, let's jump on a call. Let's speak. Let's meet up. If I have the time, I'm going to give you my time, because it's so important. And I know for my younger self, if I had someone like myself to just speak on a phone call or just go for a coffee, it would do such a difference. So I try to do that a lot.
Like that, being active. Thank you. Chloe?
Yeah, so like Portia said, I'm the same. Like, if you're good at your job, like, basically, I only hire the sickest people. It doesn't matter what you look like, your colour, anything like that. However, I do have a conscious decision to make, when hiring, to make sure I am kind of champion the underrepresented as well. So I'm not, it's not about ticking boxes. It's just about being aware of who will fit that space at certain times. Because like, even at We Out Here, my mum works with me, and she's like a six-year-old lady, because there's a lot of musicians that are of a certain age as well, and it's just about kind of including everyone, all walks of life, ages and backgrounds as well. So,
I love that. My dad works with me too, and my daughter. Yeah, it's important. Nepotism, that's where it starts. If you can start, you'll meet her. Yeah. Okay, closing thoughts, and then we will go to some questions. Are there any questions? There will be. Great, I like that hand. What is the most valuable lesson that you have learned in this time in your career? Peju's ready.
Because I just told this to everyone, and it's one of my favourite Pixar movies. It's from Finding Nemo, and it's story basically saying just keep swimming, just keep going, because it's actually going to work out. Like, when I first joined, and I keep saying it, I was just like, I quit. I come from a Nigerian background. My mum said you have a year to figure out what you want to do. I'd left finance, and she was like, I don't know what you're doing. But I was just like, there were so many points where I was just like, let me just go back to finance, even though I wasn't happy. But I just kept persevering, kept going, because it's going to work out. So yeah, that's one advice I'll give.
I like that, thank you. I tried to quit the event industry about 20 times. Probably said I was quitting about 3 times last year. It never works, stuck here. Anyone else? Most valuable lesson?
Peju's got all the quotes. I
have no quotes. No, honestly, this is from all TV shows.
It's good. You got a repertoire though. For me personally, I would say, it is just like perseverance, basically. Like, just keep swimming is a great kind of.
She's stolen it.
Yeah, basically.
I love it as well.
No, I totally agree as well. It's just having a thick skin and just keep moving. But also, there is some. No, we can't.
Yes.
There's
No, be yourself.
Shit shows out there, or festivals, or people. Just cut them off. If they make you feel bad and upset, and you're not happy, just honestly, there's other people out there who will appreciate you. So don't just stick at something that makes you sad, because there's a lot, especially in this industry where mental health is key, and overlooked a lot of times, and there's drink and drugs and all that kind of stuff like that. If you're in a toxic work environment, honestly to God, just move away. Just cut them off and find your own tribe, because there's a lot of bullshit out there. There's a lot of bullshit.
100%. 100%. Thank you. Portia?
I would say two things. One, it's okay to, this is like when my younger self, it's okay to have a part-time job in something nothing to do with event management, artist liaison, artist management, or the music industry. It's kind of like glamorized that you shouldn't work and like try to follow your dreams, but it's like, how are you going to pay your bills? It's okay to work. I worked part-time jobs while I was doing like odd gigs of artist liaison here and there. And also, how badly do you want it? Because I have made a lot of sacrifices in order to have a career. And there'll be times where you may miss a family event and stuff, and people don't understand, but it all will work out eventually. But it's, again, how badly do you want it? So those would be the two things I'd say.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so last question. Do you have any future predictions? Where would you say artist liaison and tour management is heading? Because think about where we've come from COVID. What was that?
I said AI.
Oh, God. Well, for real. But coming from COVID, where we couldn't even be out, see people do anything, I was like against it. I'm not doing any event that is not in real life at all. So I just kind of gave up. But what do you think the future looks like, incorporating AI, etc.?
That was a joke.
But it's the truth.
I have quite a sarcastic sense of humor, not for everyone, so that's not what I really meant. I would say for the first time, I think the bigger companies are seeing that they need to have artist teams that reflect the artists that are on stage. So sometimes when there's like cultural nuances and disagreements on riders, or like we shouldn't be having an argument about what catering, and we should be having an argument over the drinks. There's certain things that are just like cultural understandings, and having artist teams back a house that reflect the team, and they don't have to be black for that to reflect the team, just a cultural understanding, that can just solve a lot of things. And I think a lot of the bigger companies are starting to do that, hence like your company, being in those spaces. I see that changing a lot. But I still think that there's a lot of work to be done. And I think that as long as collectively people in this room, for example, we all do what we can and know that it's never personal, then eventually a lot more changes can be made. But that is one of the bigger changes I see. Oh, and also that guest list, like back in the day, like writing it or emailing it, and the paper trail is no longer a thing. They email guest list tickets out now, which is a very big help, because guest lists take up too much time.
I hear that. I'm here for those changes.
Guest lists with all my
Have
passion.
you lot sent your guest list for this week?
No.
Okay, great. Any other future predictions from you guys? It's okay if not.
Mine's kind of not, it's a bit off topic, sorry, but I'm noticing a lot of like environmentally friendly, like eco kind of sustainability within festivals and stuff like that. And that's something we try to push when we're getting artist riders, like where we just get like cans of water instead of plastic. So I think with my kind of goal is to kind of just push the sustainability, and like with artist riders, even if they're headliner, just kind of say, no, you're not having this platter because you're going to touch the hummus once and then it's going to get dashed. So
that is, do you know what? It's really important.
It's so annoying.
Nicki Minaj, Portugal, someone had to drive an hour to Starbucks to get her. I said, tell her no. It will be, no, they must go. And it's stuff like that that makes no sense, be it that it's car fuel, you're actually buying from Starbucks, like all of that is just a waste of everyone's time. Really important that people say no. I know you lot may not like that when we say no, but sometimes
no is no.
Anything for you, Peju?
I don't know if it's a prediction, but I would love to see what's happening, because I feel like now a lot of people are stepping back from clubbing, and like people are doing more soft clubbing where they're actually just going to, you know how last year run clubs were like the next big thing. So I want to see I basically just want to see what nightlife looks like in the future, and also how that will impact like artist liaisons and tour managers as well. So
thank you. Well, can we have a round of applause for everyone on the panel? Did you enjoy? Any questions? We got 5 minutes left for any questions. Young lady in the back with the glasses.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you because I actually did not know that there was black women in artist liaison and tour management. Because I'm in the events industry and I've been wanting to get into artist liaison, but I always come across to men. And whenever I, network or reach out to them, it's like, oh yeah, I'll get you into it. But it's like, I never hear anything about it, even though I show how, I'm here, I want to work, I can sacrifice this, I can, but it's just like, yeah. But I never get there like that. I always get nothing, no results. But the fact that you guys are here is giving me hope. And I did, put my email for SoFly. So, yeah.
That's so cute.
So hopefully, not even hopefully, I will get into artist liaison.
Come and speak to us after, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. But I'm also a mother, so these are the questions to the mothers. So how do you guys juggle all of this? And, with events, there's a lot of last minute. So how do you've got a 9-month-old baby. I've got a 5-year-old. So how do you juggle that to leave your daughters, with your partner or with your mom or something like that?
Come back to me in September. So basically, I had a child last year, May, just before I did the run of Brockwell shows, including City Splash. And that was crazy. I had a great team that covered me during maternity, and then I went back to do We Out Here, and then my partner's been really supportive. So exactly, friends and family, just having that kind of that support network. It is going to be quite tough. I'm already finding it quite hard. Yeah. But the best quotes. The best thing that I was told, don't use your child as an excuse. There's one meeting that I can't make because I'm looking after my son, and someone has said to me, you're a busy lady, just don't use that, because I think some people obviously just don't care and they will use that against you. But like I said, we'll chat to you after as well. Yeah. But yeah.
We'll chat.
No, it's a lot. My daughter's 20 tomorrow, and she has been brought along to all my events from when she was 6 years old. You have to. That's a free labour. That's how we started. What are you talking about? Next question.
Hi, I just wanted to say something to the last girl, and I also have a question. But with Artist Liaison, there's Love Supreme Academy, which I was part of last festival season, which is for people of colour and women wanting to go into Artist Liaison, and it's run by a really amazing black woman called Nisi, who's also a tour manager. I don't think the academy is, but she runs the Artist Liaison. But that was really good, because sometimes I've volunteered before where you don't actually get to do much hands-on stuff, and you're oh, this is just for the ticket. But that, I learned so much and, did so many things.
Thank you. You said Love Supreme Academy.
Yeah.
Nisi's actually part of Portia's team. I love that.
Oh, yeah, she was great. And then my question was, do you have any advice on getting from, volunteer roles into paid work? Because I've done a lot of volunteer artist liaison and repping, and also advancing and stage managing, but I don't know how to get into paid roles for it.
So you have to be careful, because I worked back in the day for a few companies that would be volunteer, and then it's kind of not a scam as such, but they just trying to use you for free labour. So realistically, we do sometimes have some volunteers. If they don't have any experience, then we'll go into paid roles. So I've got a lot of people that have started with me that have volunteered, and now they help me advance. So you need to be careful in the companies. If you want to name and shame, go for it. But they shouldn't. Basically, if you haven't got any experience, then you should. Sorry, I'm trying to not do it quickly. Basically, yeah, I agree with volunteering once, as long as you're well supported and you get the training you need. But after that, you should be paid, basically, within that company. Is it Eye of the Storm?
100%.
No.
And your CV, I don't know what your CV looks like or your LinkedIn page, but maybe rejig it so it displays the skills that you actually have delivered. So therefore it shows you're no longer at volunteer level.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I've, for 2 years, done advancing and stage managing at a festival for free, but it's for a charity.
Yeah, that's still
Charities
counts.
still get money, babes.
Yeah,
they still get money.
Get the most.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
by
you.
the way.
I think we've got time for one more question. 2 more? Can we squeeze in?
Hi.
We
Hello.
will run over a bit.
Sorry. Hi. I got here halfway through, so I'm so apologise if you've covered this already. But I've gotten a few of my first sort of artist liaison and stage management paid roles this festival season. Really excited about it, but a bit nervous. And I wondered if there's like a couple of steps you can put in place before festival season so that I know, like, I'm ready going into it, like what to expect.
They should tell you. The company who's hired you should be able to give you some briefings beforehand. And the AL or stage manager, production company, if you want it, they should be able to give you a call or at least someone from their team to just give you a bit of a brief before stepping into it. So so just drop them an email.
And the fact that you got the gig, you must have experience already. So believe in your source. Yeah.
And maybe just look, if you haven't been to the festival, maybe just look them up, see what they're about, go on their Instagram, go on their website as well.
Cool.
Thank you.
I feel like one more. Oh, there's a black girl. And over there.
Where's Emily?
There's two. Oh my God.
Hi, I'm Danielle.
Danielle.
I had a question. At the moment, I'm with NFTS doing production management, and I really am interested in the tour management. I was just wondering, what are the transferable skills that you would feel that would help me get along into that role?
You got to be organised. I think that's the main thing. And also, admin is everything. I say this to people. I feel like people always look at my Instagram stories and think I just travel the world. Admin is so important. I'm more times on my computer than actually like running around. So I would say be organised, be great at admin, be good at spreadsheets, be good at budgets. Make sure you're just always on the ball. And one thing I always do before any show, I know they tell you a time to get there. I get there before that time. Just be prepared because the odds are something's going to go wrong. So yeah.
And the fact that you've got a tech background is chef's kiss. Mwah.
Thank you. Do we have time for one more? There's a gentleman down here at the front.
Go with it.
Last one. And then catch us off stage. Otherwise, we're going to get told off.
Thank you. I just wanted to embarrass Peju quickly. So just seeing your journey from uni has been amazing. And I'd just love to see like how much you're progressing. And I wanted to ask a question about, you mentioned budgeting, you mentioned platforms as well. I wanted to find out a bit more advice about how someone can get access to like grant funding, brand partnerships, money, all these kind of like funding opportunities to create more, new festivals, new events, new everything basically. But is there like a specific way of speaking, or do you need like someone with a specific skill set in being able to get access to these kind of opportunities?
So bid writing ultimately. Bid writing is there's a skill set for it. That's something that I'm actually learning to do now, because it's something that even when I decide I no longer want to do this, that you can, that's a skill set people really, really need. And 9 times out of 10 when people don't get grants is because of how it was written. So bid writing is something to look into. And then the brands aren't giving out money. They are, but they're not. And ultimately, you do have to kind of put a deck together a particular way. And it is like speaking to the right person, looking at the LinkedIn pages, knowing like who to kind of navigate. Do you have a common interest? And like kind of doing the science around it. And then a lot of times I see stuff on LinkedIn pages for new grants, for new, and some of them aren't really requiring a lot of things. The requirements are a lot lower. So it just depends on what the grant is for ultimately. They've got like anything from like £200 to the tens of the thousands. But I haven't done much bid writing. I'm getting into that. I think
It's stress, bro. It's stress. But there are some brands who have, I think Boiler Room did something where they were giving money for people that want to start their new events. You just got to keep your ear to the ground, really. Well, we've overgone our time, but thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you all.
everyone.
Thank you. Thank you to
Thank
our
you
lovely
as well.
family.
Thank you.
Thank you.